Dun, 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 dun. Welcome back, everyone. This is the Chinese Grand Prix recap. We got some news. We got a whole bunch of stuff to talk about. My goodness, you guys better buckle up. This is gonna be crazy. Before we get too far into the episode, though, don't forget to leave a like, comment, and subscribe. Turn on your post notifications as well, and just be ready for the ride here. So we got some news to talk about. We have our Grand Prix recap. So we have the sprint recap, and then the regular race recap, and then we will go over the standings for both the drivers and the constructors, as well as our podium predictions and our little leaderboard update. So we're switching it up on you. I'm doing the news, and Julie's gonna do the recap. So without further ado, I'm gonna save our first bullet point for last, so you guys have to keep watching. But no driver has won the World Championship in the same season as their maiden win since Keke Rosberg in 1982. So, that being said, it was one of the drivers' maiden wins, and we'll get to that in a little bit. But will that driver be able to win the Drivers' Championship this season?
I think it will be a close race between the two that are currently in the first and second spot. But honestly, it'd be kind of cool if he did. The car's doing pretty great. They do have some competition, but I don't know. We'll see.
I'm just waiting for Miami because that's when McLaren's bringing those upgrades.
Well, I had to wait all the way till my birthday. Probably to be disappointed.
It'll get here sooner than you think. Our next thing, George Russell has the same amount of driver of the days as Lance Stroll, Zhou Guanyu, and Mick Schumacher. Can you guess how many he has?
2. Do I need to go up or down?
I can't give that away.
1.
Yeah.
I was like, I don't think Lance Stroll has more than maybe 2. 1 it is. That's actually crazy though, because there has been times where I was like, you know what, I think George deserves to be driver of the day, and then it was either like, you know, your basics, Max, Lando, and then, you know, you throw in those random ones.
Yeah. Our next thing is the combination of the German and Italian national anthems have been played for a total of 90 times. This past week, however, was the first time where the Italian anthem was played before the German anthem. Crazy! For the 4th year in a row, a single team has won the opening 2 races of the year. So in 2023 and 2024, that was Red Bull. Last year, 2025, was McLaren, and this year is Mercedes. So with that being said, Mercedes and Ferrari have both completed the most amount of laps this season with 228. The team with the least amount of laps is McLaren with 58.
A moment of silence.
Okay. Yeah, it's not looking too hot here, but it's fine. It's fine. We're doing great. So the next thing that we have to talk about is the Aston Martin, Adrian Newey, and Jonathan Wheatley drama. Now, I saw some stuff earlier today, and I'm gonna try and pull it up so I can read you what was put out. But rumor has it is that Aston Martin is looking to replace Adrian Newey with Jonathan Wheatley. And Jonathan Wheatley is the head of the Audi project, but something happened today with Jonathan Wheatley. So we'll get to that in a hot second. First, Aston Martin put out a statement earlier today from Lawrence Stroll saying, "With the current speculation surrounding Adrian Newey's role in our team, I want to take the opportunity to set the record straight. As executive chairman and controlling shareholder, I would like to reaffirm that Adrian Newey is my partner and an important shareholder. He is AMR's managing technical partner, and he and I have a true partnership built on a shared vision of success for the company. We do things differently here, and while we don't currently adopt the traditional team principal role that you see elsewhere, it is by design. As the most successful engineer in the history of the sport, Adrian's primary focus is on the strategic and technical leadership where he excels. He is supported by a highly skilled senior leadership team to deliver on all aspects of the business, both at the campus and trackside. We are regularly approached by senior executives of other teams who wish to join Aston Martin Aramco, but in keeping with our policy, we do not comment on rumor and speculation.
Interesting.
Yeah, so that's interesting coming from him. But then what also happened, so Audi put this out before Aston Martin commented on Adrian Newey's stuff. And Audi said, as it continues its journey towards the front of the grid, Audi Revolut F1 team will implement significant changes to its senior management structure. Due to personal reasons, Jonathan Wheatley will depart the team with immediate effect. The team thanks Jonathan for his contribution to the project and wishes him the best for his future endeavors. Matteo Binotto, head of Audi F1 project, will continue leading the team while taking over additional responsibilities as team principal. Since joining at the helm of the project in 2024, Matteo has been in charge of the transformation of the team as Audi prepared for and ultimately entered F1 as a chassis and power unit manufacturer. So that's not great. Yeah, that's
a lot of drama. I thought last season with the possible movements of people and people wanting to steal people and that was rough, but this season it's just a different level of drama.
Yeah, honestly, it wouldn't surprise me if Wheatley went and joined Aston Martin based off of this, but I also feel bad for Gabby and Nico because I would rather be under Jonathan Wheatley than the other guy. Because we know what he did at Ferrari, and that didn't turn out great. So, yeah.
Yeah, Ferrari's thriving right now.
Well, yeah, because of Fred.
Yeah. But anyway, now
we're both doing it at the same time.
You go.
Oh my gosh. Our official recap review thing, whatever, for China. So FP1, George on top, Kimi in second, Lando in third. Sprint qualifying, the order does not change there. And then the actual sprint, George finished first, Charles in second, and Lewis in third. Lando finished fourth, Kimi fifth, Oscar sixth, Liam seventh, and Ollie eighth. He was the last point finisher, so we won't go into the rest of where everyone else placed. But just a quick recap here. George started from pole. He briefly lost it. Lewis went up from P4 to P1 at the start, and then the two swapped 5 times in the first 5 laps before George finally pulled away from Lewis. And then Kimi originally started on the front row, as we said, qualifying second. He dropped down to P8 after he had another bad start, and then he had a little contact there with Isaac Hadjar, and then he got a 10-second penalty because of that. And then we had a late safety car, so it was lap 11, lap 12, something like that, where Nico Hülkenberg's Audi stopped on the track, and that was literally at turn 1. So then that led to a safety car and everyone coming into the pits. And, well, not everyone. There were some people that decided to take the risk and stay out, like Franco and one of the Haas's, I think it was Esteban, but their tires faded fast after the safety car, so that wasn't great from them. But Kimi was able to have a recovery drive despite the 10-second penalty and still managed to finish 5th. So that was great. But now we'll move on qualifying.
No, those are so So we have Sainz, Albon, Alonso, Bottas, Stroll, and Checo. Eliminated in Q2, we had Hulk, Colapinto, Ocon, Lawson, Lindblad, and Bortoleto. But then we had our top 3, which was Kimi, George, and Lewis. And then we had Charles in 4th, Oscar in 5th, And then Lando in 6th, and then Pierre Gasly in 7th. 8 was Max Verstappen, and 9 was Isaac Hadjar, and then Ollie was in 10th. I do have some facts. Kimi had issues in both Q2 and Q3. Kimi had, I think, front wing issues in Q2, and he also had electrical issues in Q3 that cost him his first flying run, but we see how that did for him. And then the McLaren struggled. They were half step behind, which should have honestly prepared us for the next day, but it is what it is. They were not having a great race. And then Gasly out here out qualifying the Red Bulls and qualifying. Okay, so we'll start off with lap 1 with the race. Lap 1, Lewis and Charles overtake Kimi, but Kimi to P2, and then Isaac spun out at one point. Honestly, it just all happened at once. I was like, I don't know where we're at, and then Checo was knocked. I think Isaac and Checo ran into each other, and then it was a whole thing. I don't know. Was it 2 separate things?
Yeah, they were two different corners.
I don't remember a lot from lap 1. But moving on, guys. Then we had lap 2, Kimi takes the front. Lap 3, we have George overtakes Charles. And then lap 4, George overtakes Lewis and gains P2. Lap 10, Lance was off the road and there was a yellow flag. And then we had a safety car out on lap 11. Mercedes pit and Ferrari pit. Pierre and Kimi is still in the lead after everyone pits. He just gets right back in the front again. And then we have lap 14. It pretty much stayed pretty neutral between 11 and 14, sadly. But lap 14, Lewis overtakes George and gains a place, 4th place. And then we have lap 15 to 24. Charles passes George for 5th, and Lewis makes it up to 2nd, and Charles to 3rd, and then George to 4th. I'm telling you guys, it literally was just a fight between Charles, Lewis, and George. And then Kimi's just doing his own little thing, just going around in circles. And then an incident with Lawson and Lindblad on turn 15, forcing someone off the road. They didn't go into it, but there was an incident and it was being dealt with. But I don't really know the outcome because, again, at this point, I was not watching and it was highlights. So you get what you get. If you guys know, comment below because I don't. But something happened.
I don't think anything really came of that. I think it was just noted, cool. Yeah.
Awesome. They brought it up in the highlights, okay, guys? And then we have lap 25. Ferrari are fighting for 2nd, so they're literally back and forth the whole time. 26 to 27, Lewis to 2nd, then Charles to 2nd, and Lewis back to 2nd, then Charles to 2nd, again, back to back. And this was all happening, like, if you were watching it, one would go, they'd get around a corner, the other one would pass. It was literally like them just fighting each other. Honestly, kind of entertaining, because we don't have a lot of that. So, I'm not complaining. And then, Kimi leads by 6.7 seconds. And George takes 3rd, passing Lewis. And then this is when George starts kind of like pushing himself through after being stuck behind both Ferraris fighting each other. And then lap 29, George, I already said that. Lap 33, contact between Ocon and Franco. This was a pretty rough little incident, I'm not gonna lie. There was debris all over the ground. From what it looks like, Franco like ran into, so like they were both kind of turning at the same time and he hit. And it caused them to spin out and, like, go separate ways. And then, yeah, it was a whole thing.
I think you have it switched. I think Ocon was the one doing the move on Franco.
Honestly, probably. But something happened. They both made contact.
I'm only saying that because I saw the memes of Esteban thinking it was Pierre. But then it turned out to be Franco. That's the only reason I'm saying that.
So from what I remember, they were both turning. But someone turned, like, too sharp, and it knocked them, and then they went flying this way and then that way. And I think it was Ocon who turned in, but it was a whole thing.
I'm not 100% sure, but that's just what I thought.
It happened. I was asleep on it. But then we also have, from like lap 33 to lap 35, nothing really happened until we got to lap 35. Austin just mentioned something over the radios about him having no power. And then you just see Lewis overtaking Charles like within like 2 seconds of each other.
And of course you do.
Yeah. And that means Lewis is in 3rd. Lap 39, Charles takes back 3rd. From Lewis. Lap 40, guess what? It's Lewis back to 3rd. No shocker there. Lap 46, Max is told by his team to retire his car. Sad boy hours. And then, I didn't mention this, but the McLarens didn't start. So, just to add that in there. And there were some other people that didn't start as well, but we'll get into that. So, if you're wondering, where are they? They never started. And lap 56, Kimi takes the win at the China Grand Prix. Following behind him was George in second and Lewis in third. Insane race, but honestly kind of boring. In my opinion. Like, it had some good parts, but I'm just like, nothing too serious.
Yeah,
Sorry, guys,
I don't know.
I'm sick.
The race recap was like showing the same thing over and over.
Yeah. I'm telling you, like, if you want a definition of that race, it's Lewis and Charles fighting for second and third and whatever. And then Kimi winning, awesome. And then Max retiring his car.
Nice.
That's the best like little recap I can give you. But here are the race results. Again, Kimi in first, George in second, and Lewis in third. Kimi being the youngest driver to win the China Grand Prix, following right behind Sebastian Vettel, because he was the other youngest one to win. There was 4 DNSs, and it was the McLarens, Bortoleto, and Albon. They never even started. The McLarens were having issues with their cars. Not a shocker there. I'm not really sure what was going on with Borto and Albon, but I think it was probably around the same thing. Some issues with the cars. And then we had 3 DNFs. Again, Max, he retired his car towards the end of the race. Lando and Stroll, I don't really know what happened with Stroll wrecked, but I don't really know what happened with Fernando. Do you know?
I thought that was an electrical issue.
Probably. Yeah, they didn't really talk about it during the recap, and I don't remember seeing anything about it, so.
Yeah.
We'll just assume.
Except for the car vibrating, but that's not new.
And then Carlos and Franco were 2 laps behind, but here are the people in their little spots. So Checo was in the bottom, then that's followed by Ocon, Bottas, Lindblad, Hulk, Colapinto, Sainz, Hadjar, Lawson, and Gasly. Behrman was in 5th. Congrats to him. He's been working hard this season. Charles in 4th. Again, Lewis in 3rd, George in 2nd, and Kimi in 1st. That is your race recap, the best I can do. Now to the standings with M.
So, to no one's surprise, Mercedes is still on top with 98 points. Ferrari in second with 67. McLaren's still in the top 3 somehow with 18 points. Haas into the top 4 with 17. They're 1 behind McLaren. Red Bull in 5th, tied with Racing Bulls. They both have 12, but Racing Bulls is 6th. 7th is Alpine. No one saw that coming. 8th is Audi. 9th is Williams. They both have 2 points. 10th is Cadillac. And 10th is Aston Martin. They don't have any points.
They don't, no. To no surprise, George is still in first with 51 points, but Kimi is following right behind him. And it wouldn't be a shocker if Kimi takes first in the next couple races. But Kimi has 47, Charles has 34, Lewis has 33. I'm telling you, the top 4, like, the teammates are like close behind each other.
For now.
And then we have Ollie in 5th, so congrats to him. He's doing really great this season. 17 points. Lando is right behind him with 15. Pierre is behind Lando with 9. Max is behind Pierre with 8. Liam is behind Max with 8. Arvid and Hadjar are both tied with 4. Then we have Oscar finally on the scoreboard with 3. Carlos with 2nd, and Gabby with 2, and Franco with 1. And again, Esteban, Hulk, Alex, Bottas, Checo, Nando, and Stroll are all zeros currently. Now to the leaderboard.
Right. You guys know how this is. If we get a driver in the top 3, it's 1 point. And if we get the driver in the correct spot, that's either 5, 3, or 1 extra point. So for the sprint, Julie had Lewis and George on the podium. And she also had Oscar, but Oscar obviously didn't make it onto the podium. I had Charles, Kimi, and Lewis, and I got Charles and Lewis both on the podium. So we both got 2 points from the sprint. Our regular podium prediction for the race is what separates us. So Julie had George, Charles, and Lewis. She had Lewis in the right spot, and she had George on the podium. So she gets 3 points. I had Lewis and George and Max, but Lewis and George were the ones who got the points for me, and George I got in the right spot, so I got an extra 3 points. So Julie got 3, and I got 5 points from that. So Julie gets 5 points added to her score, and I get 7 points added to my score. So Julie was at 8, and I was at 7, so Julie's now at 13 points, and I am at 14.
But that is our China Grand Prix recap. Keep a lookout for our preview next week.
I have one thing to say. It was confirmed that we are not racing in Bahrain or Saudi Arabia in April. So unfortunately, we're going to have to go without those races. And that means that you guys won't get any F1 videos during that time, probably. But that's okay because the Champions League will be happening. So you can go check out our Champions League videos instead.
Fingers crossed that the racers do something at least, like maybe like sims like they did during COVID, something, because that would be so much fun. But I guess we'll see what will happen. But you know what you could do in those 2 weeks we're not having races or recaps? Go watch some of our old ones, or go check out like our Christmas videos, or anything you would like to see of us. Just again, don't tell us about. I can't think of that. But if you like this video, please like it, subscribe, and turn on our post notification. Again, we have other videos coming out, so you don't want to miss those. Our next episode will be our main episode, so you don't want to miss that. Go check our links in the description below for our other social media pages. We should be live streaming soon, so if you don't want to miss that, again, go check our other social media pages because we post about it first there before we mention it here. So if you don't want to miss that, again, have your questions ready. We will try and answer them to the best of our ability. But I hope you guys like this video.
Next week is our live.
I didn't want to say that and then you'd be like,
no, it's next week.